I've got the squiggly lines. Oh, I can't even control. Woohoo! Good Monday morning. I am having a little bit of trouble finding motivation this morning, so the first thing that I want to do is to start printing this piece just so I can get the ball rolling and get something done and get something under my belt for today and to start the week off on a positive note. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. At the gallery that I show at in Marietta, North Park Gallery, their April show is a printmaking show. So I have to make a couple more pieces to include into that show. And I want to do a couple of the larger combination pieces where it's half carved, half printed, spray painted, just mixed media type of works. So, and I just literally before I turned on the camera, I got an idea of where the first piece that I'm going to work on this week is gonna be. So for this piece, the big vulture piece, I am going to use the other side of this board to make a really close-up picture of a vulture's face, I think. I think that's going to actually be a really cool piece, and then get working on that later this week. But first, I need to get more ideas, a little bit more inspired for the week. So I am going to print that slug. Let's work on that. I'm getting ready to print the slug hats print. And I've got my template drawn out, which is just basically the middle box fits the block perfectly, and the outside is the size of the sheet of paper, so I can place it on evenly. I've got that drawn out, and I will ink up the block for the first time. Got the block inked up for the very first time, and I've got a sheet of paper that I'm going to flop down onto the block. You know what? I'm going to try it without the piece of plastic that I put on. I'm just going to hope that it works, because I think the plastic might mess up this small block. We'll see. I think I did this with the sloth, and it ruined it too, but let's see. Alright, I'm pulling this print up for the very first time, and I don't want it to slide on the block, so I am going to get it from the top and the bottom. Yeah, it's still slid. Right there, it's a little bit of shifting, so I'm going to have to use the plastic. I'm just going to have to be very careful when I print this. But now I know. You see how it's a little bit double printed there on the bottom? That's from the paper flattening out on the press. So I'll get it fixed. It's because it's perfectly printed up here and less than perfectly printed down here. Now that I've got a handful of these printed, I think I printed about 15 or so, I am going to spend the rest of the afternoon drawing for that vulture piece that I was mentioning before. So I'm going to sketch for that right now. Today's also a very exciting day. I'm standing in front of my back door because today is the first day of the year that I've heard my favorite bird call, the eastern towhee, singing its full song. I've heard them doing like the first part of it the past week or so. But today's the first day that I've heard the full song, so I'm gonna see if I can can capture it on video for you. I've been standing outside for about a minute now, and I haven't heard. As soon as I closed the door, I think the towhee stopped. So I'm gonna have to try to get it another day. But yeah, it's a little rainy, so maybe today's not the best day to get it on video anyways. So I am midway through the vulture sketch. I did a little bit of a color study to see if I liked what I did, but before I got to the color study, it took me quite a few sketches and feelings to see what feeling I wanted. I wanted it to be kind of goofy and fun, but it ended up being a little bit angry, a little bit cartoony, where I was starting it to just be one of those really goofy looking vultures, kind of in the vein of like the Jungle Book, I guess. That's where I started, but I couldn't get the feel right and fill the board that I needed to fill, which is about this shaped. So I needed it to be long ways, and I needed the vulture to be taller than wide, so I needed to change it up. I took a picture of the board, brought that into the sketch, and then came to relatively about this idea, and then finished that off with like a color study to see if I like the overall feeling of the piece. And I think this is the direction I want to go into. So I'm going to take the time right now to make this piece more finished and see where it goes from there. But I think I'm in a really good direction right here. I just need to polish this off a little bit further without losing the energy that I currently have in it. Tuesday morning. So last night I sketched out this vulture for the big combination piece of the vulture that I'm working on. And I also sketched out this alligator right here. Boop, boop, boop. That one's not quite ready to be carved yet, so I'm gonna work on carving this piece. I'm going to draw it out on the board and then get carving. That's going to be my big project for today. All I want to do is throw some spray paint onto this piece and start carving. Just finished carving up this big vulture head piece to be a part of the larger combination piece that I'm working on with the vulture. It is just after 12:30 now at night. And it's finished. I really enjoy all of the feathers and the work that I did in here. And one thing I wanted to do with this one is add a lot more areas of just solid black. And I think I accomplished that with, here, the back of the neck, and then obviously the inside of the mouth. It's Wednesday morning now, and last night I finished carving up the vulture, as you saw. I went to bed with so many new ideas, it's not even funny. I feel like I don't even have time to do them all. And I'll probably get better ideas before I finish the new ideas that I currently just got. I'm going to try to get at least one of those new ideas on paper today. But I just want to do a full length carving with a story from top to bottom. Not a very complex story, like a long skateboard sized piece, but kind of shapy, that kind of has different elements on the bottom, middle, and top. Bottom, middle, top. And then I'm also going to probably paint this guy. But so I have more than one thing to paint today, I'm going to also quickly carve out this little rhinoceros. And he's small, about a little bit larger than my hand, where the vulture is about 2 feet tall. I'm getting ready to paint these two pieces. I've already done a color test for the vulture, which you will see right here. Then I'm going to paint this rhino and hopefully ink them both tonight. Probably not though. Let's be real. I'm also going to do the background on this one with spray paint rather than the acrylic paint. So I'm going to need to tape this guy off too, and it's kind of rainy today. So most likely I'll be spray painting this tomorrow and inking them both up tomorrow and sketching my ideas in my head tonight. I just finished painting up both the vulture and the rhino, and I got an alert on my phone that said it was going to rain in about 20 minutes. So I quickly grabbed my spray cans, taped it up, and tried to go outside to spray it, but it is already raining. I have a carport. I just had to move my truck. So now I can spray paint this. Real simple spray paint job, and now I can finish it tonight. Woohoo! I'm about to ink up two pieces, and before I did that I wanted to show you what the rhino ended up looking like. It is a balloon on a rhino hanging from a string. You would hang it from the wall from one single D-ring, and then the string is screwed onto the back there. So that is what that piece looks like on the back. And I can't wait to ink this one up, but more importantly, I can't wait to ink this up, because I'm not so sure I didn't go too dark. hopefully, I'm always afraid that I went a little bit too dark with the paint. The ink is definitely very black, but sometimes if it's too dark, it doesn't look super great. So I'm hoping that I don't have to go back and repaint this piece to make it lighter. Fingers crossed. Definitely not too dark on this. I really like how it came out. It's very subdued and very nice. So yeah, definitely not too dark. I like how there's the pops of whites in the tongue and the eye, and then obviously the white down on the feathers there. And so in the next day or two, if it doesn't rain, I can finish this piece. Oh, and I've hung the rhino up to dry. So last night, after inking up those 3 pieces, I sketched a little bit of the ideas that I had 2 nights ago now. So I want to do something with like this swirly format, that sort of shape. So the first idea I had is, remember the towhees that I was telling you about that I was hearing for the first time this week? I haven't heard them since that day. Well, I've heard them, but I haven't heard their complete full call since that day. But this is going to be a towhee looking for a worm, and then this worm is wearing a disguise mask kind of thing, and then a tree up above. The second idea, I just drew some turtles and then a dinosaur behind them, like a Back to the Future kind of thing. I don't know why I did that, but it's there and it's done and I like it, so it's gonna happen. And then the last idea is very simple, not super sketched out yet, but it is an octopus at the bottom of the ocean touching somebody's foot. And I'll probably put like other fish and stuff in it too, but that's the basic idea. So today I'm going to pull down the slug hats prints because I'm pretty sure they're dry, edition them, number them, and then flesh out these 3 ideas so that I can work on these heavily next week and get them done in time for the show that I have at the beginning of next month. Today I sketched all day long, and before I show you what I sketched, I want to say that I often get asked where do I get my ideas from, and I think today and last night were perfect examples of where I actually get my ideas from. I get them from sitting down and actually drawing. I have pictures and ideas in my head, and I don't know what those are going to turn into until I actually sit down and draw. I knew the first idea I wanted to do was nothing thematically. All it was I wanted to take a basic shape, this shape, and do 3 storytelling elements, designs, animals, whatever inside of that basic shape. What I came up with is first, and this drawing was the most difficult to come to a final solution because I didn't know, I was going with a punchline, and the punchline being a worm in disguise. I drew this bird, which happens to be one of the towhees, and I wanted it to be funny. And I was like, what can I do to make it funny? All right, so I threw a worm in there, and then how can I make that worm funny? And I put like the disguise on him, so the bird's completely disregarding the worm that's there. And at first I had the bird going like this, like he was looking for a worm elsewhere. But I decided that it looked weird and I didn't like it. It wasn't hitting the mark. So what I did was I extended the arm the wing for design purposes, and I didn't know what I was going to do with it, and I kind of left it there and came back to it later, and I just decided to put it is a yellow swallowtail butterfly, which is the Georgia State butterfly. I decided to put him on the end of the finger about to land on the bird's finger. So that is how that idea came to play. I would never have ever in a million years got to this idea 100% in my head. It's super important for me, at least, and I assume for most people, creative people, is to sit down and actually do the thing that you're trying to do, and don't, even if you don't have an idea, just sit down and just draw, and something will come to you as you see lines on a sheet of paper. The second piece I did was this turtle dinosaur design, and all that. This one, similar way of coming to existing. All I drew first was a big long necked turtle, and I just, one of my favorite turtles at the aquarium. I think this one's technically at the zoo. I don't think they're at the aquarium. They have these just really long neck turtles. They're soft shell turtles that live in the water. They have super long neck. I've always thought they were funny. I've never drawn anything with them. But these are tortoises. I learned today something else new. That tortoises are turtles, but not all turtles are tortoises. So it is actually correct for me to say these are turtles, because it is true. And the one way that you can tell turtles and tortoises apart, tortoises is more correct because they're terrestrial. Tortoises have elephant-like feet, where turtles have like webbed, clawed feet so they can move through the water. All right, side note over. So I just drew the big long neck turtle, and I just wanted to do something with it, and to me it looked like a brontosaurus, so I just let's put him back in time, and let's give him a little friend, and let's make it a prehistoric turtle type of environment piece. So that's where that came from. It doesn't make any sense. There's no punchline. It's just a piece that exists now, and I'm going to create it. I'm very excited about it. It might be my favorite of the three, to be honest with you. Last but not least, I came up with this idea, and this one, I was like, I want to do an octopus. I like drawing octopus. They are fun. They're like alien almost. They're kind of blobular, and I can kind of create fun shapes. So I could do the tentacles in the same kind of warped line motion as the shape of the piece. This one's pretty straightforward. I just drew an octopus, and then he's about to tickle the toe of the person underneath. I've done a couple of these type of underwater scenes where there's a person who doesn't know what's underneath, because it's kind of a very unique and universal idea that when you are swimming in the ocean, you don't know what is underneath you at any time. You may think you do, but you don't. And last but not least, I've finalized a new 18 by 24 inch print that I want to make, and it is this alligator, and this one's called Got Your Nose. It's, you know how family members take your nose? So he has got a little gator claw in the nose shape, and then there's a little young gator there. He's taking the nose, and so I first drew the gator, and then I placed him in the environment of under the water. And I think it's kind of funny too, because that is what you see when you see a gator on the surface of the water. You don't see the whole body, you just see that part. So that's kind of the fun, interesting thing for me in this piece, because the rest of what's going on underwater is up to our imaginations, because we don't see everything that's happening. So I talked a very long time, and I'm going to stop talking right now, and I'm going to go to bed, because it is 12:35 at night, which actually isn't too late for me. I might stay up a little bit longer, just work on some things. But tomorrow, I'm going to cut out these weird shapes and maybe draw one or two of them on the board. Hey, B. Doing these vlogs, it's really pointed out to me how short the weeks actually are. It's already Friday. And like I said yesterday, I'm going to cut that wood up. But first, I've got about 5 shirts that I need to print so they can dry over the weekend. So I'm going to print those shirts right now. Right, B? So now I'm going to cut some wood. I want those squiggly shapes to be about 24 inches tall. So I'm going to cut just one straight line across this way. I'm of this board at 24 inches and then work from there. I've got my projector set up, and very simply I've got the, oh, this is cool. Oh, okay. I've got the squiggly lines. Oh, I can't even control. Woohoo! I've got the squiggly lines up on the board. I'm just going to trace those out and then cut those out. I've got the wood cut out. I cut out 3 of them, and then I was like, I got a little bit extra wood, so I actually cut out 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll have to come up with a new design for that, but not anytime soon. But I'll just have that ready to go when I do. And then I've got the piece of board for the alligator print. But since it's such a beautiful day outside, and you can't take these for granted because they're not coming every day, I am going to finish this piece. And it's mostly finished. I might still want to put little carved elements on this one as well, like I did with the concrete jungle piece that I made back in vlog number 1. I will link to that. Yeah, this one's mostly finished now. It's so hard to get these on camera because there's so many different surfaces going on and all the lights. It's just difficult to take a picture of it, let alone film it. But mostly finished. I still got to glue it together. I think it's a nice way to finish off the week. So that ends this week. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Please hit that bell icon. If you like this video, leave a comment. And I will see you all next week. Thanks. Bye.